Hello and happy Monday to everyone out there. Thank you for your determination and continuation of following along in these Advent readings now on day 7. Remember, we took a break yesterday. This is just Monday through Saturday readings. We took a break. So today is day 7, covering chapters 19, 20, and 21. Some brief instruction about the background of Isaiah that I haven't mentioned to this point. There are three primary sections of Isaiah. And the first section covers chapters 1 through 40. And the second section covers chapters 40 through 55. And then the next section is 56 through 66. And so within this section that we are in is sometimes called First Isaiah. It's more of a collection of writings from a single mind than it is written all at one time. And so they're written over the course of different times throughout the history of a people. So in the first 34 chapters, we catch quite a heavy dose of judgment. And so now we've been halfway through that heavy amounts of judgment. But by the time we get into day 12, near now the end of this week's reading, we will be able to work a lot more through some of the more engaging parts of this book. Not that the judgment is not rich, however, it is intense and it is laborious, and which brings us to chapter 19 now, that deals with God's judgment of Egypt. And so Egypt, to these Hebrews, Egypt is a place of long-standing history, a place that had the Hebrews as slaves. However, God's armies have conquered the Egyptians before. The hand of God has, and He will do so again. And the waters of the sea will be dried up, and the rivers will dry up empty, the canals will stink, the streams will trickle and then dry up, the bulrushes and reeds will decay, along with the plants by the mouth of the river. Of course, Egypt is very known for the Nile River, which was quite a substantial water source to these people. And here the armies of the sovereign Lord is going to come against the water supply, and those that tended the land are going to suffer. The fishermen who derive their living from the sea fluid are going to suffer, and even other manufacturers are going to suffer as well because of this. Then, however, as it continues, there is this idea that Egypt is going to turn it around. They are going to swear allegiance to the Lord of Heaven's armies. There's going to be an altar for the Lord in the middle of the land of Egypt, and there's going to be a sacred pillar dedicated to the Lord at its border. And so these people who throughout the Old Testament are known as being the antithesis of the people of God, they are known as being a representative of the concept of empire, which is something that the Hebrews are, during Isaiah's writing, are facing now with the Babylonians. Yet these people are going to come to serve God. And so that is going to stretch some of the Hebrew mental categories, people that would be unthought of to have served God. Now into chapter number 20, we have a similar idea with Assyria. except let me back up to the last part of chapter 19 that I overlooked. Here, there's going to be a highway from Egypt to Assyria. Are going to visit each other. They're going to worship together. Now, one would expect they're going to be worshiping pagan deities, but yet Israel's going to be with them as a member of a third group. And both these nations, Egypt and Assyria, will be a recipient of the blessings in earth. The Lord of heaven's armies will pronounce a blessing. So we've heard quite a bit of woe or judgment, but now we are going to hear of blessing for both Egypt as well as Assyria, two kingdoms that have come under the judgment of God. And so much more in chapter 20. It is a very brief chapter, but the Lord is going to tell Isaiah to announce to them, the Assyrians, to remove your sackcloth from your waist and take the sandals off your feet. And so the prophet is there at work, even amongst the Assyrians there. So then in chapter 1, of course, there's been several geographic locations that have come under the judgment of God, according to the prophet's voice here. And now one more is Babylon. And this Babylon is the main character of empires, as it were. Through the course of this letter, this is the big one, the one that's readying for war, that everyone is worried about, that is taking out all of these other smaller kingdoms. And so here we find in some very, very interesting and rich poetry God's judgment on Babylon. And so it's challenging to continue through the oracles of woe. There ends up being here the judgment on Seir, then broader judgment on Arabia. It's hard to make it through, and but I'm trying to encourage you that there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. This isn't all about judgment. It is one of the most beautiful and richest books of all of the Old Testament, of all of Scripture that we have, and watch it and continue to read as this circumstance plays out. Thank you, and I'll see you again tomorrow.